Around the world, people live different lives, doing different things that are unique and make us who we are, writing our own stories and learning new things along the way. We all learn different things. We all face different challenges and obstacles, but manage to get through them one way or another. We as humans go through our own journeys, and we learn as we build our own resilience. No matter how much we get beat down, what matters is how we get back up. And everyone loves a good story. Welcome to the Neil Coutts Show.
Thanks very much for coming on to my show there today, Phil.
No worries, man.
So you're a full-time trader. You used to be an electrician, right? You still do electrical work and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'm not quite trading full-time yet.
Okay.
I am pretty much doing my electrical stuff 2 days a week, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other days I'm coach at MBA Trading Academy and then trading myself as well.
So when did you get into electrical work? Where did that all start? Is that something that you did like an apprenticeship straight out of high school or?
Not straight out of high school. So once straight out of high school, I got a job with my dad at a printing factory, and I ran machinery there for a few years. And then when I was 21, I decided to get an electrical apprenticeship.
No.
Did that, and then just pretty much been doing that ever since. And then recently I've decided to go out on my own and just kind of do part-time, like 2 days a week, electrical work for myself, and then the rest of the time doing my trading and stuff like that.
So you still have a little bit of a love for the electrical work, yeah?
Yeah, I don't mind it, man. It's pretty fun, and it's it gives me something to do, and it's also good money as well. So until I think I'll continue to do that until my trading really starts to really comfortably afford all the bills and stuff like that. So I don't really want to completely stop work until I can kind of make at least like 3 times what I usually would per week.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, doing a couple of days a week, it keeps my skills on the tools fresh, and it gives me something to do. So.
Yeah, no. Well, if you enjoy what you're doing, there's why not? And even if you do, I guess, become a full-time trader down in the track, I guess provided that you maintain your licenses in the electrical industry, there's no reason why you can't do it just to get out and about, and get in the mix of things rather than always being secluded at home, because like trading is a bit of a lonely game. Well, it can be, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you get into the whole world of trading, I guess? Like where did that all start for you, your journey?
So it was all pretty like random. So I had been interested in it for a few years prior to actually starting, but I always thought that I always thought you kind of needed to be super smart or something like that to do it, because I see all the charts and stuff, and I would just be like, damn, that looks pretty hard. I'm not sure if I'd be able to do that. So I kind of just waved it off, and then I kept seeing it on Facebook from a few people, and then one day I just said, you know what, stuff it. I'll buy the course, and this was MBA. I said, stuff it. I'll buy the course and give it a go.
Yeah.
And then pretty much from there did it, and really really enjoyed it, and then just kept going on from there.
Do you just trade crypto, or do you trade the other markets?
So I only trade crypto, but I also invest in stocks. So I do have a stock portfolio, which is the way I kind of structure it is I'd kind of structure it like 80% of my money in my investment portfolio in stocks, and then 20% in crypto. So that's kind of how I do it, but I don't trade stocks as such. It's more of a long-term game. So I kind of have 2 completely different ways of doing it, whereas crypto's strictly trading, and then I hold Bitcoin and Ethereum as well.
Yeah.
But with stocks, my approach is more kind of like a value investor, like Warren Buffett, Nick Sleep, and guys like that, Monish Pabrai, where I kind of value a business the way I think it's to be done, and then come to a kind of a rough price estimate of what I think the business is worth, and then I apply what we call a margin of safety. So basically like a discount to that business. And then that will be kind of like my buy price. So if I said, for instance, Facebook was one I just recently bought, and I come to a price point and then applied my margin of safety, and it got me in around that $220 mark, and then the market dumped, and I managed to get a decent entry in Facebook. So, and then I'll continue to hold that for a couple of years at least, or unless we go really high and there's a good opportunity there to sell. But yeah, that's kind of like my style with stocks, is long term.
So you've got a bit of a strategy, yeah, in wealth management, it's safe to say, yeah, where you look more into the stocks and shares market for long term, whereas with your trading or your trading game, you're basically, it's all crypto, yeah?
Yeah.
So what was the journey like with you? How was the journey, for you getting into trading? Because how long ago did you start with MBA, where you started learning trading?
So it'll be just over 3 years now, I think.
So it's been a while, yeah?
Yeah, so I got into, like I said, just randomly got into it, did the course, and yeah, really enjoyed it. And then from there, I just continued to practice, be on all the live calls, and yeah, just slowly chip away at it. And I found myself really drawn to Jason's style of trading.
Yeah.
He was more of a breakout trader on the 1 hour and 4 hour timeframes. And I found his style nice and simple and easy to follow. I'm the kind of trader that I don't really like to overcomplicate it. Yeah. I like to just keep it simple. And yeah, I found that I was drawn to that kind of style. So pretty much that's my style as well. Very similar to Jason's. And yeah, just went through the whole process. And then one day the boys approached me and asked me if I wanted to become basically an educator. And yeah, jumped at the opportunity. So went through a whole process there with Jason, submitting videos and content to him so that he could basically vet me, so that he could know that what I was talking about, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
So the beginning of your journey, right? A lot of people have a lot of doubt. People, like I do it myself. Sometimes I have a moment in the day where I think, is it really worth, plugging away, Did you ever have any obstacles along the way? Because like now you've been doing it 3 years. I always believe that once you get to about year 5, you should have a really good handle of things, even if you're not 100%. And they always say you can never stop learning when it comes to the markets. But so did you have any obstacles? Because you are pretty comfortable at the moment, trading. I'm not saying that you're making an income that's supporting your lifestyle, but you've got consistency coming through. And I think that's in its own right is an achievement as well, because getting there is not easy, is it?
No, definitely not. There's, like they say, the technical analysis side's really like 20% technical and 80% mindset. So the way, your mindset's the biggest thing. If you believe you can't do it, or if you think that it's too hard or whatever, then it will be. And working on your mindset every day and doing those things to, I guess, improve your psychology and look at trading like, basically treating it like a business, you're not just going to come in, randomly trade and make money. You know what I mean? You have to kind of have a set plan in place, which is why we teach trade plans and stuff like that, because you really need to treat it like a business, because at the end of the day, no trader wins them all. So if you have to be comfortable with being able to lose. Like, losing trades is part of the game. And if you're the kind of person that just can't handle losing money, then it's probably not the right space for you to be in, you know what I mean? So that was one thing I had to overcome, was being okay with losing money. That was kind of a big one for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, as opposed to obstacles and stuff, not really. I mean, the only obstacle I'd probably say is probably halfway through my journey, I had my internet service cut out for about 2 or 3 months. And during that time, I was very, very slack on the charts. I'd jump on the calls and stuff on my phone, but when it come to actually charting, I did very little for a couple of months. So kind of once I got my internet back, kind of, I guess, pulling my head back in and saying, you know, what are you doing? Get back on track.
It's like getting back to being dedicated to the craft, basically.
Yeah, because I could kind of feel myself slipping a bit, like getting a bit lazy. So I kind of had to just pull myself up and be like, look, trading is something that can give you that time freedom and that money freedom that you want, but it's something that you need to be able to put time and effort into. It's like I say, I always say to everyone, I treat it as if it's an electrical apprenticeship. So when you do an apprenticeship, it takes 4 years. So why expect to just jump into trading and then within a year expect to be profitable and everything's going good? So it's, really something that you want to dedicate at least 4 years to, in my opinion, and then decide if it's for you or not then, I guess.
Yeah, so I was saying the same thing to Sham as well, who I had on the podcast. Well, I put it up last week, but I spoke to him a few weeks back. And I was explaining to him, it's like, for myself, the way I look at it is that, you know, I'm in my first year in a 4-year, or I look at it as a 5-year apprenticeship. And then, because also Jace, I can't remember what time frame, but he's pretty much just past 5 years. But you'll probably be able to explain to me more better. He didn't start trading 5 years ago. He would have started a bit earlier than that, but he's been doing MBA for the last 5 years. Yeah,
so I'm pretty sure he's been a trader for a little while. But he had I'm pretty sure his story was like, within like the 2-year mark, he was kind of a professional trader making good money. But he spent a lot more time studying and stuff like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, some people just get it like that. Some people, it takes a year or two. Other people, it might take 5 or 6. Jason was just one of those guys that took a couple.
Look, that's the hardest thing, I think, with most people with psychology, is being patient about that, because we, as a society now, we don't have a lot of delayed gratification and we just want things instantly. But unfortunately with trading, it doesn't quite work like that. And I always say to a lot of people, I think the saying is, it takes 10 years to actually master something. Do you know what I mean? So expecting to be able to do this overnight, it's not something that is really achievable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So when you were saying that you've really got to run it like a business, what are some things that you do to run yourself or run your trading game as a business, or the game of trading? So
for me, it's the biggest thing's your trade plan. So basically, when I talk about like running it like a business, for the business owners out there, they would understand when you start a business, you're not just going to jump in there blind and hope to succeed. Like, you're going to have some sort of business plan set out where, you know, for instance, if we were talking about an electrical business, you'd want to know whereabouts you're going to get your supplies from, what price for all these different factors. And for trading, that's basically what your trade plan is. It's your business plan. So you want to lay out what your risk management is. You want to lay out how you trade, why you trade, things like that. Some people have very detailed trade plans. Other people have, more broad ones. And I'm not one to go into too much detail with my trade plan, just kind of the essentials. But I did a boardroom day with MBA, their last live event, and I learned a lot through Paul Trelaw. It was basically a 1 day of pure personal development, and they basically talked to you about your trade plan, but went into real in depth in it, basically. So all these different questions you can ask yourself as to why you're trading, like what your why is, what your goals are, your long term, your short term. Really write it down, and so you have something set in stone. You have something to work towards, and you know why you're doing it. You know a rough time frame. You know how much money you're putting in, how much money you're risking, the style of trading that you want to do, how you're trading, the confirmations that you want to look for, and the list goes on. So that's what I kind of mean by a business plan.
Because I've watched a lot of content on trade plans, and they're a little bit different from some of it. But like you're saying, you've got that business plan or the direction that you want to see yourself going and having it documented. And then I feel like your trade plan is like how you conduct yourself when you go to work. When you go to work, you have all these tasks to do, but you're supposed to dress up nice and, be on time and stuff like that. And I think that's when I look at a trade plan, I think that's what it's sort of like. And then you have your strategies, which are like your tools that you have to do your job that your boss, because, your boss obviously wants you to make money or wants you to do stuff for them, and they give you tools to be able to complete the tasks. And I feel like the strategies are like the tools, whereas the trade plan is how you conduct yourself on the day-to-day basis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, pretty much. Like your trade plan's that plan, and then your strategies are like your tools, like you were saying. So you want to see you want to know what your strategies are, what confirmations you're looking for to enter that trade, and have it all written down. So there's no guesswork in it. It's just every trade you take is the same, and then that way, once you go to review your trades, it's a lot easier then to, how do I say it? I guess master that setup. Or redo that setup. If something's not working, it's a lot easier to find what's not working. If every trade is the same. Then if you were to just take random trades all the time and have no structure, when you come back to review, it's going to be nearly impossible to better yourself, because every trade is different. So you couldn't just try and fix one trade, because it's not going to help with the rest. So if you can have one setup that you're constantly refining and removing things that aren't working and putting things in that are working, eventually you're going to get a strategy that, works for you. Could be 70, 80% of the time, whatever it is. But as long as you have your risk management laid out properly, that 70% win rate can be a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely. Like, how can I say, as long as you're meeting your, like, how can I say, like, so you say you have 70%, like, it's like your risk reward, reflects the amount of percentage you need to be successful in your trades. And like we were saying before, that you don't need to have all your trades as winners, as long as you're meeting your success rate depending on your risk reward, you'll be able to achieve your profits that you wish to desire. And I guess over time you'll just grow your account. But yeah, like you're saying, it's about being content, I think, is one of the biggest challenges in either finding one strategy, or like some people say, you know, at the start of your trading journey, you think you need all these indicators, but at the end of the day, I think the acronym is KISS, keep it short and simple, is quite an effective saying when it comes to trading too, you know, because you just want to get in at everything, and it's part of the emotions and the psychology that you just don't want to miss out. You know, it's in our nature, you know, and who doesn't want to miss out on something? But in this trading game, it's all about the patience, and that's part of the psychology, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's another thing that I also struggled with, I think, when I first started. Now I like to, it's more about quality over quantity, sorry. So,
Yeah.
you know, there could be 10 trades, 20 trades there, but I might only take one of those because I'm looking for that quality trade that has the highest probability in my favor of planning out. And like you were saying before with risk reward, your win rate, depending on how big your risk reward is, can depend on how many times you win or lose. So the higher your risk reward ratio is, the more times you can lose and still be profitable. So if you had a strategy or had a specific way you like to trade, and you found that you even had a 50% win rate, you could still do some back testing and stuff like that, because it's your risk reward that matters. So if you have a 50% win rate, but you had a 1.5 to 1 risk reward, then that's probably not really going to work. So you could try and change that risk reward to say a 2.5 or a 3 to 1. And if you could find that the trades were the same during that period, then you're going to make a lot more money. So if you have a higher risk reward, you're going to make more money basically if your win rate's 50% than if you had a 1.5 to 1, for instance.
So what you're saying is success rate of 50% with a risk reward of 3 to 1 it's basically almost guaranteeing success, especially based on the fact that they say, I think it's 25%, or is it like 30% that you need to be successful?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. So
for a 3 to 1, yeah. So you could have, you know, if you had a 30% win rate and you had a 3 to 1 risk reward, you're still making money.
Yeah.
If you had a 50% win rate, so if you had a 50% win rate, but you had a 1.5 to 1 risk reward, probably not the greatest, you know, you're probably not making too much money. Yeah. But then that exact same strategy with a 50% win rate, if you could up that risk reward to 3 to 1, now you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the risk reward and that risk management side is a really, really big part of your trade plan.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing in a 3 to 1 or 3.5 to 1 risk reward ratio is that the time it takes to get there and the swings that generally come with it. It really does play on your emotions a bit, and you've really got to be confident. That's why I guess back testing is so important, but so many people kick it to the curb because it's just they feel like it's a waste of time, it's unnecessary, or it's just a bit of effort that no one wants to put into it.
Sometimes it can be a bit repetitive, a bit boring, but you know, trading isn't always fun. You have to do the hard yards sometimes.
Yeah. So, how did you go about discovering yourself with your strategies? You know, like at the start of your trading journey, were you trying multiple things, or were you always try one thing first? Like, how did?
Kind of.
Because
I had a little bit. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, because I you know, from I think it was one of the live coaching, the call sessions last week, was it the week before? You had 7 strategies in your book of tools, you know, and I'm like thinking to myself, did you have all that 7 at once and just tweak each one as you went along, or did you just stick with one first and then just grind away with that one thing until you were happy with it?
Not really. So the way I kind of did it was I pretty much laid out everything that all the trade setups that I like to trade, like the things that I found myself trading the most. So, and that was mainly different patterns or breakouts.
Yeah.
And then basically I just wrote a basically a small trade plan for each one of those strategies. So I just wrote down the confirmations that I want to see, what I want to see the market do for me to get an entry on each of those different strategies. So that was pretty much how I did it. So I didn't really start with one. It was more everything that I like to trade. I did a strategy around that. I have a more, I guess my risk appetite is lower than a lot of people. So I don't really like to take a huge amount of risk. I like more confirmations. But at the same time, that means that I may not trade as frequently as other people. So trade opportunities may not present themselves to me more than what they would to someone with greater risk, you know?
Yeah. So
They only need a couple of confirmations, whereas I really look for like 4 to 5 confirmations.
So on average, how many trades do you generally take a week?
3 or 4.
Oh, see, that's the thing. Like most people think you feel like you got to be in a trade every day. Did you have that at the start, like wanting to be in trades?
Yeah.
And
so, that was just. But I mean, when you're starting out, and if you're only using a small account and you're just starting out, like I'd probably recommend that. You know, like getting in and trying to do as much as you can, because you get used to the exchange you're using. You get used to like, you know, what all the different order types are, all the different lingo, how to use the exchange, you know, how the market moves and stuff like that. You're basically just practicing. So the more time you can put into that, the better. But then when it comes to being serious and disciplined, that's when you really need to follow that trade plan and those strategies that you've created. Otherwise, you can get off track pretty quick.
So what you're saying is, provided you use a small account, it's good to play with the markets and not expose yourself to too much risk, and just learn why you're on the job. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, how else are you gonna? I think for me, the students that I see, I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with is they put so much time into the technical analysis and stuff, which is good, but I think they feel like they need to be perfect in order to start trading. Whereas the biggest thing I think is once you've learned that stuff and you have the basics down pat, put $100 in an exchange and do $1 trades and get the feel for how everything works and get comfortable with it all. Because I feel that kind of scares a lot of people. But it's the most important thing, basically getting like experience with the tools, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think like one of the things that in the mindset of people is you got to be able to put enough money, like how can I say, put little or enough money in your account or in your trade that you're willing to drop on the ground and not miss. Do you know what I mean? Because if you put more than your risk appetite and you're still starting fresh, every time you lose, it's going to hurt. Whereas if you like you said, $1 trades, if you drop $1 on the ground, are you going to cry bloody murder or something? No, you're not. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind. And I think what a lot of people should do, because if you're not back testing, you got to be doing something to testing your strategies. What did you do? Like, because you said that you had all the things written down that you like to play, and then you went and played them. But how did you go about refining all these different strategies? Did you do one at a time? Did you have a separate book for each strategy and you were taking notes down on like back testing them, but not so much back testing them? Were you back testing them first, or did you just jump in and play $1 trades?
Yeah, I still did $1 trades. I still use small money, but at the same time, back testing is the quickest way to test your strategy, really. So kind of going back as far as you can, and then, you know, sitting there with the replay tool and letting, you know, doing your TA and then seeing what happens. And then when it gets to an area that meets all your confirmations, sweet, put that down. I've entered the trade here, see if it plays out or if it doesn't play out.
Yeah.
And over the course of however long you choose to go back, I feel that that's the best way to test your strategy without losing a lot of money, because, you know, you're pretty much just you're using live market data anyway. It's just in the past. And then once you've got, so say you do that for 3 years, you've gone back 3 years, done your back testing on your time frame, and then once you've got that information, then you can go back and review it and be like, all right, what happens if, or you can see, I seem to be losing a lot of trades when I do this. So what happens if I take this out and then see what happens? And if it helps, sweet, leave it out. What happens if you add something in, and stuff like that? So it's not something that you're going to get right the first time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even to this day, like I'm still, and I'm sure every other trader out there is still refining their strategy, because markets are always changing, and what works for you in, say, an uptrend might not work in a downtrend. So you have to kind of have strategies for different market types as well, which is what I read in a trading book. I think it was Trading in the Zone, I think. And he goes on about saying how there's 5 different market types and how you should have strategies for each one.
Yeah.
And the market types he goes over is, I think it's bull market, and then a volatile bull market, bear market, volatile bear market, and then a sideways market. So he kind of goes on to say that you should have at least one strategy for each type of market, so that when that market changes, you can kind of change your strategy to suit, because it's pretty rare that you're going to have one strategy that suits all different market types.
Yeah, I read something about it, like with an automated trader as well, and he was saying the same thing. Like, you've got different markets, but not one strategy will work for all markets. You've really got to have different ones. So that's something you have obviously set up in your trading plan, where you've got multiple strategies for different markets, right?
Yeah, so at the moment, yes, but I don't have anything for like a consolidating market, a sideways market. I need to put some time in to try and sort something like that out. But at the moment, I feel like every time the market starts to consolidate and get real indecisive, I lose a lot more trades. So I tend to just like sit out of the market when it gets like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is definitely something on my list to do, is to try and find a good sideways strategy that works for me.
So do you ever get a bit of FOMO when you're in these side ranging markets?
Not really, man. Not anymore. It's I'm pretty. I feel that I'm pretty disciplined now, but I mainly use market structure to determine, and on a higher time frame. So if we start to trend sideways, and then when I see on the higher time frame, say 2 market structure changes, and we start to head up or we start to head down or whatever, that's when I might choose to jump back in the market. But yeah, I don't think I get FOMO when we're trading sideways.
Fair enough. So is it just coming down to being strict with your trade plan that helps you with your psychology, so you don't get FOMO and stuff like that?
Yeah, I believe so. Always doing something to increase your knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always learning something, and like we say in MBA as well. There's heaps of different things you can do. Like for me, get some exercise. I like to read every night, so I read a book every night, whether it's a trading book or a business book or something like a personal development book or something like that.
I see you got a lot of books there. Have you read all those books?
Yeah, I haven't read them all. And then, you can, what else can you do? There's heaps of things you can do, you know what I mean?
I think,
and everyone's different.
I think it's, I didn't realize it when I first got into trading, but your lifestyle choices make a big impact on your trading game. Like you say, having exercise, some people meditate, but it helps you have that right frame of mind, to be a bit more disciplined when you have a good lifestyle, eating properly. Because if you're not eating properly, then you may be moody. If you don't exercise, you may be moody, and then you have irrational thoughts and you make bad decisions. So it's just one of those things. Like, do you go for a run every day, or you hit up the gym?
Nah, I have weights at home. I have been a bit slack as of late, but yeah, usually I like to do something. Plus, with being still on the tools a couple of days a week as well, it's still a physical job, so I get some kind of workout at work as well.
So how important do you think it is for people to keep their job or have a job while they're learning to trade? Because I think when you're not working, the psychology game must be a whole lot harder when it comes to trading, yeah? Because
Yeah, I would assume so. Like if you're starting out trading and you have no income to pay the bills, like that's going to be stressful. You feel like you have to perform, you have to be in the market, you have to be in a trade. And then, if it's not really a time to trade and you're losing a lot of money, how's that going to play on your mind? Then, so I think having a job or having an income while you're learning to trade is super important, because you're not just going to be able to go straight from not having a job and then being sweet. You need that income to pay the bills. Like with anything new that you want to try, if you've got your job, your day job, and then after you get home, that's when you dedicate the time to your side hustle or whatever it is that you're learning. That's when you put in the effort to do that stuff.
I think like it should be a prerequisite when you're starting to learn to trade that you should actually have a side job, because as well as that helps you take your mind off the markets. Because if you're so dedicated to it, your mind is just wondering what price is going where. But when you're at work, you can't think about those things, and it allows you to give you a break from the stress or the the dramas of trading.
Yeah, true. You're probably right. It's not good to sit in front of the charts all day and look at price.
Do you do that? Do you have some days where you're pretty disciplined with not spending too much time on the computer, or is it just that you don't like playing?
Just looking at the charts. I mean, I do my charts and stuff, but I'm not just going to sit there and watch price, you know what I mean? Especially because I trade on like the mainly the 4 hour, sometimes the 1 hour, but 4 hours for one candle. Like I'm not just going to sit there and watch one candle for 4 hours. So I think being able to trade on those higher time frames makes it kind of impossible to do that, because there's really no price action to watch during the day. There's four candles during a day. So
that's what I realized when Jace says 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Oh, 6 candles, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically, they're the times when the 4 hour candles are closing. You know what I mean? So you can see what events taken place, and then you can make your decisions, so you don't have to spend so much time. And one of the hardest things I get with people is, I was having a chat with someone earlier today, is that they're like, I'm not smart enough. And I'm like thinking to myself, and they're like, oh, you're smart though, Neil. You can read those charts. And I think to myself, there's nothing to be smart about when it's reading charts. It's just about being able to maintain, I call them the horses that are racing in your mind or in your heart, you know what I mean? It's taming those horses so you know when to go and when to not, It's not about, because like I say, 20% of trading is technical analysis, and it's just drawing lines and working out where price has been, and identifying action to sort of give you clues of where price may go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying earlier, got into the training aspect of it. What made you want to get into teaching, I guess?
So I guess throughout my whole life, I've always enjoyed helping people, you know what I mean? It's always kind of, it makes you feel good when you help someone. And when I was approached to become an educator, I jumped at the chance, because not only had I found something that I was super passionate about, and I actually, thoroughly enjoyed trading and the community of people that we have in MBA. It's all positive. Everyone wants to see each other win, and that to me is really, really special and really nice. And when I was approached to ask, it was a no-brainer, because to me it's like you get a real sense of fulfillment when you help someone, and when you get messages from people and stuff saying, oh, look, I've just made this much money, or I've done this. It may not be money at all, you know what I mean? But when you help someone and you help them kick their goals, it makes you feel good. It gives you a sense of fulfillment and purpose, I guess, because at the end of the day, like if you die and you haven't helped anyone or impacted anyone, like what's the point of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I always think, how can I say, like the feelings you get, it is fulfillment. You get a sense of purpose, or you feel like you've got a sense of purpose, but it's just a much warmer feeling than getting something brand new. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know if they're the same feelings, but you get that same elevation of happiness. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that's it. Happiness. That's the perfect word.
Yeah. So, but it's much warmer, when you've helped someone because you've contributed back rather than it being selfish and about yourself. But yeah, no. Look, what was it when you first started? Did you ever get nervous? Because I noticed at the start,
100%. 100%.
like I noticed like last year, you were like Discord day in, day out, not even week in, week out, day in, day out. I think it was about midday, 2:00. You'd always get this message pop up, anyone need any help, and then all of a sudden you've gone from helping everyone on Discord to now having your own time slot on Thursdays, being able to answer questions for people. So when you did get into that, were you a bit nervous at the start, like doing your first...
that's one of my fears, bro, is public speaking is probably like one of my worst fears. But so when I started doing it, the first few sessions and stuff, I was quite nervous. But like I said, everyone in the community is there to learn, and they're supportive and everyone's positive. So like, after a couple of sessions, I think I was sweet, and now it's fine. But yeah, at the start it was pretty, it was bit nervous, yeah.
So you haven't got any plans to start a YouTube channel or anything, do you?
Well, it did cross my mind. I have got thoughts on it, but not sure yet. So while creating a YouTube channel would be appealing, at the same time I'd want to kind of provide value to the MBA members. So whether that's making videos strictly for MBA members or whatever, I'm not quite sure yet. But that's actually another reason why I was super happy when the boys approached me to ask to become a trainer, because MBA as a company, what they do and their community and stuff, to me it's really special, and I really believe in what they're doing. So to be a part of the team was really warming, and it was awesome. So
how did you find out about MBA, if you don't mind me asking?
Just randomly on Facebook, man. So I kept seeing it pop up on Facebook, and
what, through the ads or people
ads,
already? Oh,
just ads on Facebook, and a couple of people I knew were in it and stuff, but I didn't know them well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I kept seeing it over Facebook here and there, and then after a year or so, I kind of was like, you know what, let's give it a crack.
Yeah. So were you hard in throughout the first 3 years, or did you have a moment where you dropped off and then you got back on the horse?
So apart from that whole internet thing, when my internet kind of cut out for a couple of months, I was a bit very, very slack there. But apart from that, man, I think I've been pretty consistent, because I know that this is an avenue that can give me the freedom, the time freedom and the money freedom that I want in life. Like, I don't really care about earning millions and millions of dollars. It's more of a fact that, if it happens, sweet, but it's more of a fact that I want time with my friends and family and my wife. And when we choose to have, when we have kids, I want to be able to be around for the kids and stuff like that, and not be tied to a job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trading, you do that on your terms, and helping people as well, that's a fulfilling thing too. So if I can, eventually that's what I want to do, is be able to trade full time and also work with MBA full time. And I think that will give me that time and money freedom.
Yeah, well, that's what I find appealing about trading. You're not reliant on an employer. You're not reliant on clients. You can go in, make your money that you need to make, and work on your own terms. You know what I mean? But the hardest thing, like I was saying, I had a discussion with a friend earlier, and like it's very hard to talk to people about this because they just don't have a lot of faith in the game of trading. You know what I mean? And they think that you got to have big money to make money, and trying to explain to them that you can start small, and as long as you build gradual growth, you should be able to achieve, your goals at the end, because it's one of the most appealing things is being able to work on your own terms and have the freedom to spend time with friends and family. But it's not an easy thing and sometimes I just, I don't even bother when I have the conversation with them because it's like, what's the point, if they're already preconceived with a negative conditioning about it, well then what's the point of wasting your energy in explaining it to them? Do you know what I mean? And there's plenty of evidence out there around the world to show that there are a lot of people making a living comfortably from trading, but if you have to dig deep to find those stories where it was never done overnight. It wasn't done in a year or two, Most of the time they will...
combination. I think it's a combination of a couple of things why people are like that is because, well, for starters, they probably think it's too hard or they're not smart enough or something like that, like I thought when I first started out. And they just think, it's no point because I'm not going to be able to do it. And the other part of it, I think, is crypto is still very new, and it's obviously, there are a lot of scams in this space. There are a lot of people who act like they talk the talk and walk the walk, but they don't. You know what I mean? There are people there that a lot of gurus on YouTube and stuff like that people see, and a lot of scammers and stuff like that. And it's very hard for someone who's new to the space to come in and know who to listen to. The amount of people out there that talk absolute garbage and people believe what they say, it blows my mind. And there's a lot of people out there teaching and stuff who really, they don't practice what they preach. As I said, it's to put yourself in like someone new's boots. It's hard to come into a space and know who to trust and know that you're getting the right information and stuff like that. But I think as the space evolves and as it grows and more people get involved, that'll probably die off. But we're still very new, you know what I mean? Like,
I think everyone in this day and age, they need to be educated on the actions of scammers, because it just doesn't happen in the crypto industry, even though it's probably one of the best industries to prey upon people because people are wanting money and, the greed of man, but
they hear, oh, sweet, Dogecoin's gone to the moon and I can make $1 million. People promise them that and they're,
But it's not only that, like the pump and dump crews and stuff like that, or, successful people will have these private platforms for people to go and learn off, and they might be exclusive and stuff like that. But then scammers will come and approach them. And it's happened to me once before, and I knew it was a scammer, so I just played with them. But for someone else who didn't see the signs beforehand, they were really good. They were really good. Like they talked like the person that like, so for example, CryptoFace, part of the market cipher community, he has his whale crew or whatever they're called, and you can only get in there exclusively. And someone's just reached out to me, spoke like him, chatted and all that. And if I was just a newbie, I would know, I wouldn't have known that it was something fake. I would have been sucked in, but because I'm aware, I was able to identify it, did the right things as well, get,
it's really unfortunate, that sort of stuff, man. Like, it annoys me so much when I hear stories of people getting scammed like that. Like those people that do that, man, are the scum of the earth.
Like, because like I've heard that it actually takes place in other industries too. So a lot of YouTubers, popular YouTubers, they get fake accounts, and then scammers who are operating those fake accounts will reach out to people acting as those people. And those people get all clucky, you know, they talk like them. So they're like, oh, I'm talking to a famous person. And then they're like, can you donate some money to this fund or that fund? Or I'm in this country and we need money for this community. And little people, do they know, they're also starstruck that they're being sucked in by a scammer. So it doesn't matter whether it's crypto or something else. It's just that these scammers, every year or every few years, they just get more and more savvy. And as more security mechanisms come in place, they'll try and find other ways. Like I also had one guy approach me on the Meta Bounty Hunters Discord community, because I didn't tick off the, don't send me private messages within community. And I went into their support chat to ask a question, and someone messaged me. And then they were like, oh, did you validate your wallet on this website? You know what I mean? And I was like, what the hell? And I'm like, nowhere does it say it on the official content that I need to validate it. So why should I? But, I played along, and, the guy gave me a website. I jumped on another computer that has none of my crypto workings on it. Just my stuff around computer, I call it, where I visit all sorts of random sites, because you can never be too safe on the internet with cookies, And then I sussed it out, and I had a look, and it was like literally the site's asking for your keys. And I'm like, you don't give your keys to nobody. You don't open your wallet on a website unless you are 100% confident that website is tied to whatever service you're using. Because like Celsius once had their emailing list got hacked, or it leaked. And so these scammers emailed everyone on this mailing list and said, we're Celsius. They created an email, looked like it, like a Celsius email. And they said, oh, we got this new, like, I know they got a DeFi platform happening, but they were saying that we had a DeFi platform. You just need to log into your Celsius wallet on our website. No, you got to log into your wallet on our website to verify yourself, and then you'll start getting coins and stuff like that. And I actually did some research on Google News. That's one of the things people need to do first is if it's, because the saying goes, I don't know if you watch the show Hustle, but the saying goes, if it's too good to be true, it's most likely not true. And especially in this space, there's a lot of awesome things happening. You've really got to be careful, because you open your wallet to someone, they clean you out, and that's the end of all your money or your funds, and there's no worse feeling like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So so you're doing the teaching now and stuff like that. What are your plans for the future? Like you did have ideas for doing YouTube, or you just wanting to go all in on MBA and give them everything you got?
I think so at this stage. It's anything can happen, you know what I mean, but at this stage I do want to grow within MBA, get up there and obviously increase my knowledge as well. Donnie is another head coach at MBA, as you know, and he's helped me immensely through my journey. He's been a really and continues to be a really big part of my crypto journey. So to be able to be in a spot where Donnie is with his knowledge and stuff like that is a goal that I have as well. So one day I'll be up there. I have no doubt. Yeah.
So you just got to stay consistent, yeah?
Yeah, man, stay consistent. Continue to work on my trading. Continue to increase my risk, I guess. As my account grows, I risk more and more. But currently, I'm having a bit of drama getting past the specific dollar figure of risk. So I'm working on my mindset and psychology about that as well. So as I grow, my risk will grow as well, and I'll make more money, and I'll get there eventually. I know I will.
Yeah, I think the key is like what Donnie said. He had a psychology problem when he got to 100K, And I think you just got to find that figure for yourself, whatever, where it's that figure that just goes past your risk appetite, and you got to have a strategy around it. You know what I mean? Like one of my things is, yeah, grow in a big account, but you need to take some of that money out and put into these other spaces, which like what you're already sort of doing. You know, you've got your stocks and shares, and then now
Yeah.
DeFi is blowing up too. So, and I tell you
Yeah, I'm
what,
learning about DeFi as well. That's another big thing that because passive wealth generation. Like, if someone doesn't want to actively trade, that's a great alternative. You know what I mean? A
yeah.
passive wealth generation like DeFi. That right there can help a lot of people out. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
another thing that
no.
I'm kind of looking into.
Yeah, no, it's a growing space. So look, there's going to be so much more to come, especially as the world tries to shift as much, how would I say, practical, not practical, is everything is becoming digitized. That's the best way to say it, you know, and the last leg of the journey, you know, we've gotten communications through, you got video, email, you don't need letters. Now the last leg is money, and having money in a place that can't be hacked is the key. Do you know what I mean? Because they've tried to come out with digital money in the past, but they've never been able to get through this obstacle there like they have by creating the blockchain. Because I think that's where it all comes down to, where the security is the
Yeah.
operating of the blockchain. So, and I've actually got a blockchain developer coming on in the future. So I'm just in the middle
Oh,
of
awesome.
tying that up. Yeah. So, but what I wanted to do before I wrap things up, because yeah, we've been going on for a while now, but just that with the random people that generally come to you and ask you, what should I do? How do I improve my game? What should I look out for? What is it that you would share with those people? What are those probably main couple of points that you'd be like, are you doing this? Like most people know you need to be journaling. But what are some other tips that you would give people?
So my biggest thing is risk management, trade plan, and your record keeping and stuff. So your journaling and stuff, like always recording your trades, like as much information as you can put on, because that will help you when you come to review things and you want to refine your strategies and you want to get better. You want to find out what's working, what's not working. So spreadsheeting and record keeping, journaling, stuff like that, definitely. Risk management, like just guessing isn't good enough. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
having a set 1, 2, 3% of your account per trade. Not going in there and being like, I'm going to chuck 50% of my money on it. Hopefully it goes up. If it doesn't, I'm just going to hold on to it until it does. Like that's not an investing strategy. So being clear about your risk, 1% generally is what we teach. That will keep you in the game a lot longer. And then your trade plan. So like we said at the start, getting a trade plan, something that suits you, something that works for you. Having a trade plan that you don't follow is useless. So making sure that your trade plan is something that your goals are still aligned with it. You're still following those strategies and you're being disciplined with yourself and stuff like that. They're the three main things, I think. And then the other thing is, if someone's watching this and they're getting into this space and they're doing it on their own, finding yourself a community, whether it's MBA or something else, finding yourself a good community of like-minded people with coaches and trainers who walk the walk, talk the talk, walk the walk, and practice what they preach. I think that's an invaluable source, because you can go onto YouTube and try and learn it, but I guarantee you that you're going to lose a lot more money doing it that way than spending some money to be in a community of people who have your back. Everyone wants to see you win. Everyone's sharing content. Everyone's uplifting each other. And I think that's a big key, especially for a lot of students in MBA. Like, as you've probably seen, a lot of people come and go, and then they'll come back and you'll hear, I don't know why I left, kind of thing. Because having that support around you is huge thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it is just trying to stay in the game for as long as possible until you find consistency. But you won't really find consistency until you start recording data so you can go
Definitely.
back and measure your wins against your losses, because I think the losses hurt a lot more than the wins,
Yeah.
and take enough punches and you get traumatized, you know what I mean? And it affects your game. So yeah,
Exactly.
I think yeah, like I've got to do more of it. Is just basically recording my trades,
Yeah.
maybe getting into a bit more back testing as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But look, I want to thank you very much for your time, Phil. Yeah, you've obviously a lot of valuable information here today. Do you have any external links or anything like that I can share with the community? Do you get on Instagram or Twitter that you share with the community?
Yeah, I've got my Facebook page. I don't really use Instagram or Twitter, but I can share my Facebook page with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if you want anything else, I can.
So
If anyone's
yeah,
interested about MBA, hit me up.
yeah,
I'm always willing to help.
yeah. So no, I'll leave some links down below. Well, your Facebook page anyway. But look, from myself, Neil Coutts and Phil, um, thank you very much for watching today's episode, and don't forget to smash the like button to let the YouTube algorithm know that we've got some quality content here, so it shares it out with everyone else. And smash that subscribe button to help us out there and give us some love. And yeah, from myself again, Neil Coutts and Phil Roberts, thank you very much, and have a good day.